What is going on, guys, and welcome back again to another video. And today we got a brand new interview with Mathieu Cote from Saw Palin. This interview has some cool information regarding some properties coming in the Dead by Daylight, as well as some information that is just cool to know. So before we get to that, guys, leave a like on this video and leave a comment down below what your most hyped license coming in the DBD is. Also, be sure to subscribe. We recently hit 3,000 subscribers, and I'd love to see some new faces on this channel. So this interview is in French, and unfortunately I do not speak French, but luckily Doctor Who for DBD on Twitter has actually translated, or at least gave us information from this interview. So the first thing first I want to point out is that in this interview, Mathieu Cote did confirm something about the chapter coming in September. Now, we know that the chapter was going to be based on Asian folklore, but we didn't know where exactly in Asia it could have been. There was a rumor going around it was going to be the Jurogumo, as that is a folklore based in Asia, specifically Japan. Now, that did get deconfirmed, but we still didn't know where exactly in Asia it was going to be, and I know a lot of people, including myself, wanted to be somewhere outside of Japan, since we haven't gotten a lot of chapters based on Asia outside of Japan. Well, we actually got confirmation in this interview that the chapter in September is going to be based on South Asian folklore specifically. So any country in South Asia is on the table. So the fact that we got official confirmation it's going to be in South Asia is very important. The countries included in South Asia are Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Now, originally, I was thinking that if it's not the Jurogumo, it might be the Krosu, but the Krosu is based on Southeast Asian folklore. So if it's specifically just on South Asian folklore, it would not be the Krosu. So I'm going to definitely be doing research on different folklores on these countries and seeing which one fits the bill on it being possibly the goriest chapter, because as we know, this chapter is going to be the goriest chapter in DBD that was stated. But it seems like we're thrown off completely here, because it's not the Jurogumo like we originally thought. That was straight up deconfirmed that it was not going to be the Jurogumo. And now it's looking likely it's not going to be the Krosu either. So now we're back to square one. Who is this killer going to be? So, like I said, I'm gonna have to go through these countries and see what folklore fits the bill here. Another thing I thought was interesting is that Mathieu Cote was actually asked about DBD2. DBD2 is something I've seen suggested a lot, where pretty much people want the Overwatch 2 treatment of DBD. Something I am personally very against, but that's just my personal opinion. But Mathieu did state that it's something they are not planning to do, and they want to slowly upgrade the game in all of its aspects so that it can keep the essence that it originally has, but pretty much upgrade the game so it's not lagging behind in terms of graphics and gameplay. I think this makes the most sense. I don't think we're ever going to get a DBD2 unless they literally do the Overwatch 2 treatment, where it's pretty much the same game, but they slap a 2 on it and add some new characters. I don't think DBD is going to do anything like that. DBD to me strikes me as the game that would just continuously update and change over time. I don't think there's necessarily a reason to make DBD2 other than maybe to fix some core issues in the game itself with coding, but aside from that, there's really no reason to do it, so I don't see why they would. Now, this is something I thought was rather interesting. So we know that we're getting more game modes over time, but one idea that was mentioned is that Prop Hunt is being considered as a game mode for Dead by Daylight. Now, this is something I think would be absolutely a blast in Dead by Daylight. Now, Mathieu did say it's not going to be the next game mode, but he did say that they are considering making it a game mode, and it's honestly something I would really love to see. I think be a lot of fun. He also did mention the idea of a future killer having a prop hunt power, basically being able to transform into different objects. I think that would be actually really cool as well. I know an idea that a lot of people have for DBD is something like The Thing, where it can transform into another survivor, but the issue with that is that it would break during swifts, because someone would be like, oh, that's not me. Well, a workaround would be a killer being able to transform into objects and basically blend in the environment. That, to me, is something I can easily see being a killer power and would be really interesting. It would pretty much be what exactly people want from, like, The Thing, but uncounterable with swifts. I actually would love to see this idea specifically go into development, even if they don't do the prop hunt game mode. I would love to see a killer that actually just has the ability to transform into objects and hide around the map and, like, jump scare players. It would be really terrifying, and you would load in every match not knowing when to trust if it's actually an object or if it's not. So Behavior, if you're watching this, please consider this idea. This is something I think would be really interesting and would be unlike any other power we have in the game. Okay, this one I thought was really interesting, and this is something I really wanted to share near the end of the video with you guys, because there's two nuggets here that I think are really important. Now, the first one, which I don't think is as important as the second one, the first one is that he knows that people want more Stranger Things content in the game, and he mentions the door for it is not closed. Now, this could mean anything. To me, it sounds like that nothing has been worked on yet, which makes me a little more skeptical about there being a Stranger Things Part 2 chapter. This is something I made a video on already. The way that's phrased makes me think that it's possible that he wants there to be more content, but there isn't anything, you know, being worked on yet. I don't know, the phrasing that he knows that people want more content and that the door isn't closed for it is weird phrasing if it's something actively being worked on. Then again, the fact that the door isn't closed can still just mean that it's something being worked on and it might be coming this year. But I feel like when someone says the door for it is not closed, it means that there's nothing being worked on now, but it's not a hard no. This is good news because a lot of people did have the belief that Netflix and Behavior did not have good relations and that there would never be new Stranger Things content in the game. The fact that Behavior, or I should say Mathieu Cote, is saying that the door is not closed is good news on its own, because it means that their relationship is not dead. Of course, you know, Mathieu Cote can't just say, they hate us, we can't work with them ever again. Like, obviously he can't say that, but I think this means that they do have a good relationship, or at least not one that's terrible, and it is still possible for us to get more content. That being said though, the way that's worded, I don't think we're going to be getting a Stranger Things Part 2 chapter this year, which makes me think it's either Resident Evil Part 3 or Predator. Now this is the big one for me, and that's that Mathieu Cote confirms that there have actually been talks and mentions of Darth Vader coming into Dead by Daylight with Disney. Now, if he's openly talking about this, I have to think that it's not likely going through, but this is insane to me. Darth Vader is a concept that I've seen floating around for DBD from a couple people, and even though Darth Vader himself isn't a horror character, I definitely think him being in DBD would be kind of cool. It'd be like one of those non-horror characters I think I would let slide. Also, that Rogue One scene alone for me is just enough reasoning for him to be in DBD. But clearly, this means that Behavior and Disney are thinking about doing Star Wars stuff in DBD, even if it's not Darth Vader specifically. I do know there were some statements going around that Behavior and Disney were talking about Darth Vader coming in the DBD, and Behavior for some reason wasn't interested and wanted to do a more specific horror story, as they felt like it didn't fit the game's vision, which I can understand, but at the same time, it's Darth Vader. I don't know, this one's a little conflicting because on one hand, I could see why they wouldn't want Darth Vader in DBD, but at the same time, I mean, it's Darth Vader. But the fact that Mathieu Cote actually confirms that it was in discussions of him coming in the DBD, or at least Star Wars in general. Now, what I'm interested is I want to know if this means that Behavior talked to Disney about Darth Vader coming in the DBD, or if Disney came to Behavior about adding Darth Vader in the DBD. Because if it was Disney that was interested in adding Darth Vader in the DBD, that means we might get something Star Wars related in DBD at some point in the future, even if it's not Darth Vader. But that's pretty much it, guys. There was some other news as well, but this was kind of the biggest stuff I wanted to share with you guys. I'll of course link this entire thread in the description below if you want to read all the other details as well. There's of course confirmation that we'll never get a permanent game modifier, as well as saying that FNAF was one of the more tense licenses to work on. But in particular, I thought this interview gave a lot of cool information that I wanted to share with you guys. That Darth Vader thing to me is mind-blowing, because honestly, it's something I didn't think would actually go through with Disney. But let me know what you guys think about that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, new to my channel, subscribe. I'll see you on the next video. Have a great day, and peace.